Once, in a small village, there was a young student named Miguel. Like many teenagers, Miguel was full of questions about life and faith. He attended Mass each week, listened to the readings, and participated in the rituals. Yet, he found himself doubting if these practices were truly meaningful. Miguel went to a Catholic school, and one of the core lessons was the significance of the Eucharist. However, he struggled to understand why everyone around him seemed to approach it with such devotion. To him, it felt like just a small piece of bread and a sip of wine, something he had seen countless times but never fully grasped. One day during class, Miguel's teacher, Sister Clara, noticed that he was distracted and didn't seem interested in the lesson. That day, they were learning about the Eucharist, but Miguel's mind was elsewhere. After class, Sister Clara decided to talk to him. "Miguel," she said gently, "do you understand what the Eucharist really is?" Miguel shrugged. "It's bread and wine, right?" he replied, not understanding why Sister Clara was so focused on it. Sister Clara smiled kindly. "Well, yes, it is bread and wine on the surface. But would you be willing to spend some time at the chapel after school to think and pray about it? I believe the Eucharist has a message for you, one that can change the way you look at it forever." Though he was unsure, Miguel agreed to stay. That afternoon, he sat alone in the quiet chapel, sunlight streaming through the stained glass windows, casting colors over the altar. The peaceful silence of the chapel was something Miguel hadn't noticed before. It felt different, almost like a quiet invitation. After a few moments, Sister Claire joined him, and they sat together in the stillness. After a while, Sister Clara shared a story. She told Miguel about a young boy named Carlo Acutis. "Carlo," she began, "was very much like you. He was a young man who loved life, computers, and learning. But he also had questions about his faith. Carlo often wondered why people said the Eucharist was so special, and he even questioned if God was really present in it." Miguel leaned in, curious to hear more. Sister Clara continued, "One day, Carlo's mother shared something with him. She told him that the Eucharist wasn't just a symbol or a routine part of Mass, but that Jesus himself was truly present. This changed everything for Carlo. He began to feel a deep desire to grow closer to Jesus, especially through the Eucharist. To Carlo, the Eucharist became like a highway to heaven, a way to connect directly with God. This understanding filled his heart with such love and peace that he dedicated his life to spreading this message. Miguel was moved by the story, but he still wasn't sure. Sister Clara sensed his hesitation and encouraged him, "Why not spend a few minutes each day here in the chapel? Just sit quietly and ask Jesus to help you understand the Eucharist, just like Carlo did. You might be surprised by what you find." Over the next few weeks, Miguel began visiting the chapel after school. At first, he felt awkward and didn't know what to say. But soon, he found himself talking to Jesus in his heart, sharing his worries and hopes, his dreams and struggles. Little by little, he felt a peace settle within him. Every time he received the Eucharist at Mass, he felt like he was inviting Jesus into his heart, allowing his love to guide him. As time passed, Miguel started to notice changes within himself. He felt more at peace, even during stressful times, and began to approach life with greater kindness and patience. He realized that each time he received the Eucharist, he wasn't just receiving bread and wine. He was receiving Jesus himself, his love and his presence, strengthening him for each day. With this newfound understanding, Miguel felt a strong desire to share what he had learned. Inspired by Carlo's example, he began telling his friends about his journey, encouraging them to see the Eucharist not just as a ritual but as a source of love, peace, and strength. Through the Eucharist, he found a real connection with Jesus, one that he knew would carry him through life's challenges and joys, as long as he opened his heart to it. Miguel's story reminds students everywhere that the Eucharist is not just a tradition or a habit. It's a sacred moment to encounter Jesus' love and a reminder that they are never alone. Through the Eucharist, they are given strength, comfort, and the courage to face whatever comes their way. Miguel's journey is a call to deepen faith, grow in love, and embrace the beautiful journey of a life with God.